Right, we have here a 1934 Scott Flying Squirrel. Look at that.
I've come back to the flinking, he's blind.
1934, is that a front brake or I'm not quite sure. Well, it sort of rubs and impedes motion a little bit. Really, I was told what you've got to do is have a great belief in the Almighty. Or your feet, yeah, or your feet. The engine on these things was the first successful two-stroke designed by a penny-pinching bugger named, Day. And he didn't want to pay for the royalties to the auto patents to the Germans, you see, and he wanted to make a nice cheap engine. So they came up with this idea in 1893, and of course it was a gas engine, wasn't a petrol engine at all. And the piston had a little door in the top of it and a spring, and the gas went through from the bottom to the top. Yeah, look at him. It's actually great fun, but what you've got to bear in mind that the majority of the people that go racing are singular no talents like me. We're never going to be world champions. We've got an expensive wife, or we did at the time, at home, and 3 kids, and I found I couldn't earn enough money to support the wife. I keep changing my modern bikes, because I used to race Laverda and Ducati production bikes in the early 70s. So what the hell to do? I love me racing, and you've got to try your best on whatever bike you've got. So I went and joined the vintage racing, because if you've got a time slot, no clever sod with more money than you is going to come along and out-purchase a bike that's going to make you look as slow as could be. So then, but also I do ask you to bear in mind that there are some very peculiar people in the world, and I am one of them. And I'm a masochist, so I thought, what would be an interesting mechanical thing, a challenge? Well, anyone in the right mind isn't going to choose a Scott, but I thought, no, that'd be worth having a crack at. So I started this fella in 1970. The impediments for being successful is firstly having no talent for racing, and secondly not having binocular vision, so I don't see 3D, and the third is a medical condition that has got a Latin description about a yard long, but you and I know it as fear. Anyway, I've more or less made all this myself over the years. It keeps me out of the pubs and out of the clutches of loose women. And it started off, this deflector piston engine has got a very, very broad spread of power. The Schnell loop scavenge that came along by the mid-20s had largely made it obsolete. The Schnell loop scavenge has a very high peak, but a very narrow band. Now, you'll know, riding your bikes, a bike that has a good spread of power is a nice bike to ride, because you can shove it through a corner without necessarily having to keep changing gear. So the type of engine was very good. In fact, it was kept in use on outboard motors for years. So anyway, I thought, what can I do with this bugger? And the last time anyone had really looked at it was 1928. So I did some work on it. It started off at 18 brake horsepower, and it now delivers 41.9. So, and they did the fastest lap at the TT in 19, 11, 12, 13 and 14. They won absolutely in 12 and 13. And in fact, in 1912, there was a race meeting, enormous fun, in the Czech Republic, street racing, round all the little narrow streets on cobbles and walls, you know, the sort of thing. And I was invited over because it was 100 years to the day that Scott had won their first TT. And we were lucky enough, we won it, so I got an award for that. And the point is, it's a great friendly club, the Vintage Club, to race with, great guys. You've got to have some crack in life. I'm 73 now, I'm still racing, and I've raced in some families. I've raced with the father, the son, and no, it wasn't the Holy Ghost, it was the grandson.
I think driving your missus away certainly didn't come from lack of communication or talk, did it? It's been a long way. Right, before it gets dark, can we get this bike running? No, seriously, this bike, 1911, 12, 13, 14, did it win the TT in this trim? Pretty much like this bike?
No, it wasn't like this.
Quite different, but the same motor.
Roger. Tell him how successful Paul was on it.
Oh yeah, I crashed at Lyddon once, broke my shoulder, couldn't ride it, and I asked a friend if he knew anyone who was a decent rider who could ride it, and he said, well, I know a young New Zealander named Paul Dobbs. He said he loves racing, but he hasn't got any money. I thought, I know that feeling. And he said him and his wife has just done a 7-hour endurance race on mopeds. I thought, Jesus, this is a man who's got to love his racing. Ask him if he wants to go on this. Well, he never rode anything like it. And then, first of all, it came back about the same colour as that tent. And it was apparently a baptism of fire. But anyway, you got to really like it. It did wonderful things on it. Of course, I really wanted to hate the bastard because it clearly showed what a decent bloke could do on my bike. Where are you? Tell people that's all it would do. So in the words, it shot my bloody fox. But a lovely, lovely guy, Paul Dobbs, and unfortunately he was killed in the Isle of Man at Ballyscary about 4 or 5 years back. But a great man, a great friend. He loved it. He loved to ride this. He said it was the greatest fun. Well, I won't say since what, because you all know that story. But anyway, lovely man. I enjoy riding it. I don't claim to be a special. Bill Swallow went out on it. 6 starts, 6 wins. Great bike. And it's keeping the flag of Scots alive. So thank you for your patience. I can talk for bloody England. I've got gold medals for it.
Thank you very much. For England, flipping European champion.